just as Hamilton and Rosberg crashed out in Spain. Headshot, disconnected right off the bat, opening the door for someone new to come in and take a win. And with Sean L and Chris D starting near the front of the grid and finally returning to form, we saw them do just that and take advantage of the opportunity presented to them. I feel like I should give a shout out to Wes7 as well, who has consistently been overlooked due to the likes of Frinker and Rozodkiv finishing in front of him, but he's also started somewhere towards the back of the grid in each of these races, and he's ended up like 3rd, 6th, and now 4th. So a massive shout out to Wes7 for these consistently brilliant performances from him. But as you can see, your driver of the day, your driver of this week, it's just Frinker. You can't deny this guy's performance. He almost had Sean L before the end as well. His lap times towards the end of that race must have been off the scale. Rozodkiv put in an equal time on the very last lap, but Frinker must have been doing it consistently to I don't know if you've seen my highlights video, but to go from where we were together, like to think that if I'd have just stuck with him, perhaps I would have ended up there as well, but I highly doubt it, because he must have been running some consecutive 207s to get up to there. Fantastic performance from Frinker, cleaning up the overall fastest car points as well. The Vajero didn't come out on top over the Intruder this week. I don't know if that was down to driver performance or down to vehicle restrictions, but the Intruder took it this week. Little stars. First we have a little star for Mini Temper. That's because he was being reserved for again by Yuchia. It's becoming a bit of a... I think I should put a cap on this before it does become the inside joke of, who's going to drive for Mini Temper this week. He's currently doing rather well in the overall standings, and he's kind of the community's step-in driver at this stage. It's like, who is going to drive for Mini Temper this week and try and keep the points up? I'm gonna have to say that Mini Temper, if you can't get your PS4 up and running by next week, I'm not going to accept any reserve drivers for you. So Mini Temper facing relegation at the end of this week if he can't find a reserve. Now a little star for Meh Ryan, and this is where the mood has to drop just a little bit, because Ryan got tangled in at least 3 incidents recorded on at least 3 different videos. Now there's a phrase, isn't there? There's a saying that too many people can't be wrong, and in the PS4 chat, a lot of people have been ganging up on Ryan. So I want to right away sort of dissipate this sort of gang mentality against Ryan. We've had our fun with this #learn thing from Rozodkiv, but let's let this go now. Ryan's taken a 10-second penalty. He lost 6th position to Mini Temper and myself due to this 10-second penalty, and he got the penalty for a collision with Racing Benjie at turn 1, which whether or not it was his fault, I have evaluated it. I've come to a decision that it was Ryan's fault, and if it weren't for that, perhaps I would have looked into one of these incidents where he perhaps crowded me towards the side of the circuit, and the collision with Rozodkiv as well. Either or, let's hope that Ryan can clear his head, just get past this and move on. You took the 10-second penalty today. Everyone needs to get off his back about the way he has been driving. He's been fighting for his position. In many people's eyes, a lot of people wouldn't see what Ryan has been doing as wrong. So it's a split decision. But on this occasion, I have given Ryan the penalty of 10 seconds, only losing him 2 points, but it could matter in the end. Jakey H and MC West, they are hanging on week after week. These 2 youngsters, if you will, they are 2 of the younger drivers in Division 1, and they continue to survive. They're staying every time. Nima95 didn't show up this week. I think he was late, but nevertheless we had Charles the King reserving for him, and Charles got heavily involved with that crash with 3 drivers at the end, and he came out the worst, so Charles ended up getting Nima relegated on this occasion. Unfortunately, Gaming Easter Egg and Digster Pop didn't have fantastic races, and they ended up down the order, and Racing Benjie disconnected from 9th, so he manages to hold on to his position. as well as Headshot for obvious reasons. So only 3 relegations in Division 1. Let's move on to Division 2. Now, right off the bat, we should have seen Scrazor 92 in this race, but for whatever reason, he was unable to connect to the lobby at the time of the race start, and well, due to the nature of Children of the Mountain, we just had to press on without him, unfortunately. That's why these availabilities to race late are in place, and fortunately we had Headshot to fill the void of the 15th driver to try and put some points together for his absence in race 1. He didn't do as well as we might have thought, but he was starting from last in a car that he hadn't practiced with, and the Vigero was quite a bit different to the Intruder, actually. In the end, we saw Macy starting on pole and finishing in first, which is fantastic for him. Great to see Macy back in Children of the Mountain, as well as racing in MCEC as well. So that's a great performance from Macy. Certainly wasn't a dominant one. He had to fight for it. So yeah, well earned, Macy, considering I assume he didn't put a great deal of practice into that. Now, Most Wanted coming in second, which is a pleasant thing to see. We had Met Ryan right there, representing Most Wanted, starting from the back of the grid and finishing in second. So, well deserved, I think. Well deserved and well redeemed in a way. Ryan putting in a great performance for Most Wanted, who, as you may remember, disconnected from second in the very last race. So, a couple of people have already expressed a little bit of doubt about this system where reserves are able to come in and get somebody else promoted. But let's be honest, Most C Wanted should have really been in Division 1 this week anyway. Picano, living up to the name of Picano, starting near the back of the grid as well, with the huge number of points that he had coming out of last race, and managing to find third after battling with Ryan throughout most of this race. This race had a little bit more rain than race 1. I think it was almost 50-50. Yeah, like I said, like it says in the conditions there, half dry, half rain. Charles the King was driving for himself this time, came in fourth. Razodkiv was driving for Whitey White. They organised that well before the race, and that was completely fine. So that's perhaps why we saw Whitey White get the fastest lap bonus points. I don't think it's within Whitey White's capability to do that, but I don't know. Who knows? He might surprise me one time and prove me wrong. G-Gamer didn't have the best race. Crow Gamer was right behind him. Those two were second and third off the grid, so yeah, both of them did fall down the order with the number of Division 1 drivers that we had in the race. Or perhaps they just weren't able to put together, what they were capable of doing anyway. So I really hope that G-Gamer and Crow Gamer are able to fight their way into Division 1 at some point. Dylan, it feels unfair seeing him in 9th after the performance that he put in. He had probably one of the best starts out of everyone. If you go to Dylan's channel and watch his video, he catches up to the leaders towards the start. He's sort of hunting down Picano for a portion of the start, and Iggy survives in 10th. Now, I honestly can't remember who was driving for Dr. Peppers, but Dr. Peppers, you can thank your anonymous reserve driver, because he did manage to get you 11th. And with Scrazor not being able to enter the race, and Headshot hanging on to his Division 1 position, and with only 3 people coming down and 3 people going up, for whatever reason, 1 space has been left for next week, and I needed that space filled. So only 4 relegations occurred this week in Division 2. So Dr. Peppers manages to hold on to his position. I hope you're able to make the next race and fight for your position, because it's probably going to be somewhere near the front of the grid. Sorry to see Roman go. Roman's been hanging on in Division 2 since the start, and he was the only one bold enough to put the wheelie bar on the Vigero. That was quite amusing to see. And Mo Youngstar, Jamie LFC and Dawson showcase the hardships of coming up to Division 2 and having to deal with a new level of competition. Obviously that was exaggerated this week with the Division 1 drivers, but yeah, Mo Youngstar, Jamie and Dawson are all heading back down to Division 3 from whence they came. Now, speaking of Division 3, let's see how that played out. I think spurred on by the fact that he just missed out on a promotion with the number of promotions being cut from 5 to 3 last week, Oracle XR was in the mood to hammer the point home that he belongs in Division 2 by completely dismantling the Division 3 race this week. He got into first place on the first lap and extended his lead from there. Scrazor92 started in last because he was a late driver and managed to pick up the fastest lap bonus points, as well as overtake my coming back in the closing moments. You can check that out on Scrazor's channel. What a consistent performance from my coming back, who has spent most of his time in Division 3, but with a great drive today, proving that he belongs there and, well, belongs in Division 2, in fact, because he's going up. We had a new driver come in, as you've seen in my highlights video, UFO driver, also started at the back, and he was, you know, sending some pretty impressive snapshots into the Children of the Mountain PS4 group of the lap times he was setting in practice, so just proves that practice makes perfect as you progress on to Division 2. And Jim Bob Stroud finding a way up from 7th to 5th in like the last 2 laps. A gutsy performance from Jim Bob there to fight his way into Division 2. Now we see an elimination in Truskawek's name there because Truskawek's decided to pull out of Children of the Mountain. He's enjoyed his 2-race stint here, but he's got too many commitments to other events as the summer unfolds, so he needs time to practice for those. So thanks Truskawek for joining in. You made Division 3 a real challenge. You gave people some good competition whilst you were here. Bad Herbatnik, Evil Tunic, they find their usual position in the centre of Division 3. Newcomers Got You Itch and XR Cool, they'll be sticking around for another week. Whether you like the pitch of their headset or not, they are here to stay. They've proven that they belong. And unfortunately, newcomers Boss Reaper, Golub Shreko and NRA Don are out the door as soon as they came in. Thanks for joining, guys, but you've been eliminated right off the bat, so that's testament to the competitiveness of Children of the Mountain. Some people come and they get kicked out right away. They couldn't keep up with the Division 3 veterans, so that's really good to see that Evil Tunic and, you know, the likes of Bad Herbatnik are able to stand their ground from the likes of these newcomers. Oshawott Pro and Imarog Co. I've made a mistake in my colouring there. Oshawott Pro and Imarog Co. Will be here next week with 3 new drivers, as you'll see in my events details video coming later today. Right, we're in serious rambling territory now as the video goes over 10 minutes, so I will try to keep this short by simply saying congratulations to Frinker for getting straight back to the top of the table. You really do deserve it after that drive on Sunday. I'm really happy with where I am at the moment, despite my woeful performance. The right people got the highest number of points for me, really. Sean L and Chris D seriously jumping up the order there. So I'll let you just look at the standings, and I think I'm going to cut it off there. Really appreciate everyone for showing up. This league is becoming something really awesome and really fun. I've already got next week's drivers lined up. There's a healthy waiting list, and yeah, let's just keep this thing rolling. The points are looking interesting. So we're going to finish Children of the Mountain every 8 races. So that's when Season 2 will start. We'll crown King of the Mountain at the end of race 8, and then everybody's points will go back to 0, and we'll have a new array of tracks coming in. We might possibly see some of the old tracks that received second place votes as well. And there may be some changes to the voting system on how we vote for tracks as well, as recommended by Jim Bob Stroud. So yeah, changes to be made in a few weeks from now. But for now, let's all get ready for the Great Hills in variants of the Massacro, or the Infernus if you're one of the lucky ones. And I will see you there in the Great Hills next Sunday.